At the edge of a quiet desert highway, beneath the pale gold stretch of a rising morning sun, Eli Marston thought he was utterly alone until the desperate knocking shattered the silence. It wasn't the sharp, confident tapping of someone seeking help, it was frantic, uneven, almost trembling. When he swung open the door of his long-haul truck, he found a young woman clutching a swaddled baby to her chest, her face pale from exhaustion, fear, and something else he couldn't quite name. In that moment, even before she spoke, Eli sensed that whatever had driven her to knock on a stranger's truck in the middle of nowhere carried a story far heavier than what her trembling voice could explain. If you believe kindness can change someone's fate, and if you believe everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Echoes of Kindness. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. Eli had driven the same dusty route for 18 years, hauling produce from one small town to another. He was used to seeing stranded tourists, overheated engines, and the occasional hitchhiker, but never a woman with a newborn, especially not one who looked like she hadn't slept in days. She introduced herself softly as Mara Thorne, and the baby, barely more than a few weeks old, was named Solon. Her voice wavered as she asked for nothing more than a ride to the next town. Eli noticed her hands shaking, not from the cold but from the weight of whatever she was running from. He helped her into the passenger seat, careful not to startle her, and offered a blanket and a bottle of water. Mara's eyes kept darting toward the road behind them as though she expected someone to appear, someone she feared. Eli didn't pry, he'd learned long ago that people share their stories when their hearts can finally breathe. As he drove, Mara kept her gaze on baby Solon, rocking him gently, whispering soft promises he was too young to understand. The desert wind pressed against the windows, creating a constant hum that wrapped around the truck like a cocoon of temporary safety. After nearly 20 miles, Mara finally spoke. She said she used to live in a small rural community far from the highway, working odd jobs, a bakery assistant, a part-time cleaner, anything that would help her keep food on the table. Life had been quiet and predictable until someone from her past reappeared, someone she had spent years trying to forget. She didn't go into detail, but Eli could feel the raw fear hidden between every sentence. She confessed she'd left in a hurry at dawn, grabbing only essentials for her and Solon, hoping the open road would hide them until she figured out what to do next. Eli listened, his grip tightening on the wheel. Something in Mara's voice reminded him of his own daughter, whom he'd lost in a tragic accident years ago. The memory hit him like a sudden windstorm, but he didn't flinch, he simply drove a little more carefully, as though protecting Mara and her newborn was the only thing that mattered. By the time they reached the nearest fuel stop, Solon began to cry softly, and Mara's eyes shimmered with panic. She admitted she hadn't eaten since the previous night. Eli insisted they go into the small diner attached to the station. The waitress, a cheerful woman named Gillette, quickly brought food and warm milk. Mara ate slowly, almost as if she wasn't used to anyone offering her safety without demanding something in return. Solon, fed and wrapped snugly, fell asleep in Eli's arms, his tiny breaths warming the old trucker's scarred heart. While Mara stepped into the restroom, Gillette leaned toward Eli and whispered that the young woman looked familiar. She asked if he had heard the morning news. Gillette showed him a local report on her phone, something about a missing heiress from a wealthy family several towns away. The photo displayed a young woman holding a baby. Eli's breath caught. It was Mara. Not just a runaway, someone immensely important to someone else, someone people were frantically searching for. But the report didn't tell the whole story. It mentioned nothing about fear, nothing about danger, nothing about what she might be escaping. Eli's chest tightened. He didn't want to betray her trust, but if she and the baby were in real danger, or worse, being chased, he needed the truth. When Mara returned, he gently showed her the news alert. Instead of reacting with shock or denial, she lowered her head and whispered, "I knew they'd start looking." Her next words spilled like a dam breaking. Mara explained that yes, she came from a wealthy family, but the world believed her life to be glamorous. The truth was far from it. Her family controlled every part of her existence, planning her future like a business deal. When she refused an arranged marriage to a man known for his violent temper, her family turned cold. And when she gave birth to Solon, fathered by a man they disapproved of, they pushed her further into isolation. The moment she realized her child might grow up in the same toxic environment, she gathered the courage to flee. Eli felt a deep ache for her. He knew what it meant to lose a child, and seeing Mara's fierce determination to protect her struck something profound within him. He told her that she deserved peace, that Solon deserved safety, and that sometimes running wasn't weakness, it was survival. They continued their journey to a trusted shelter Eli knew in the next town, run by a woman named Sage Valero, someone dedicated to helping those escaping dangerous situations. Sage welcomed Mara without judgment, giving her space, legal guidance, and support. For the first time in days, Mara's shoulders relaxed, and she allowed herself to breathe. Before leaving, Eli held baby Solon once more. His small fingers wrapped tightly around Eli's thumb, and in that simple touch, Eli felt something healing inside him, something he thought he'd lost forever. Mara hugged him tightly and whispered, "You didn't just give me a ride, you saved our lives." Eli, with misty eyes, simply nodded, knowing that fate had placed them in each other's paths for a reason.